Welcome into the lounge. This is our place to talk about a burning topic in the sports world and give it some more time than we have during the week. And it would be an absolute disservice to not talk about the biggest sports story, Tiger Woods. I understand the man shot 6 over on Saturday and didn't find himself in striking distance of winning in Augusta again. But in Tiger fashion, the story of his return has created sub-branches for a whole lot of other conversations, as it always seems to do with him. Let's start with number one, the return itself. Folks, put your feelings on the man to the side for just a minute. Don't worry, we'll get back to them. But a year ago, after his terrifying accident, there were a couple of hours in there where we thought we might have lost the man. And then once we found out that wasn't the case, we wondered if he'd ever walk again, if he'd ever get the chance to play with his son, Charlie. All of that stuff you wouldn't wish upon your worst enemy. Then the man starts swinging a club and you go, wow, what a good story. Then he starts talking about wanting to actually play in the game's biggest tournament. And you're like, okay, lofty, maybe no way. Then the man basically shoots even for the first 36 holes. This isn't just a Tiger story. This is an anybody's story. Playing with rods and metal in your body while clearly being in pain every hole, every walk, every hill. It's just an insane physical accomplishment that shouldn't be lost on any of us. Okay, now let's get to the thing you actually want to talk about. We were even talking about it in the newsroom before, the guy himself, and people who have done wrong in the past as a whole. And in a lot of ways, his life has been the ultimate movie script. Tremendous highs, fall from grace, rise again, and so on and so on. There is no correct answer to the separate the artist from the work debate. If anything, it probably makes you a better person to not look past some of the wrongdoing from athletes, music artists, celebrities, everything. But there is a fine line between those who deserve a second chance and those who deserve to be excommunicated. Sports as a whole is by far the most forgiving entity in society, whether for better or worse. And in these examples, much, much worse. This is the same platform that allowed Ray Rice to get cheered on by his home crowd just days after the domestic assault charges in 2014. The same platform that still cheers on Tyreek Hill just 2 years after he brutally beat and choked his pregnant girlfriend and after allegations of child abuse. At the end of the day, the main problem with sports as a whole, at its core, is that it's too forgiving. And don't get it twisted, I'm not saying to forgive those specific examples, because those are the examples to show you who shouldn't receive a second chance. But for others who have done wrong and who didn't hurt people, does that mean we should cut off forgiving altogether? We all know the stuff Tiger has done in the past. I'm not here to unpack any of that again. But in this cancer culture we live in now, I think we sometimes forget what the human experience is. People will always mess up. What you rarely find are the people who mess up and come back from it, and more importantly, turn their shortcomings into a positive for others. That's the story. We live in a time where people love to point out the faults of others, thinking that in some small way, that recognition will make their lives better. You don't have to separate Tiger from the things he's done in the past. It will always be part of the story. But if you include that, be sure to include this week as well. Forgiveness might be the biggest issue in sports, but what I didn't mention is its greatest strength, inspiration. Where a 46-year-old with rods and plates and screws in his legs can demonstrate how far the human mind can take the body. There's no right answer to the question, the same way there's no Hollywood ending for a lot of us, and maybe not one for Tiger either. But the movie itself, well worth the price of admission. That's it for The Lounge. We'll be right back.